Merci. Ah, je suis heureux complètement. Je suis honoré d'être là.
So before watching the movie, we have a tradition here in Cannes when we have people like you, people we all love, people who have been important for our lives, is to give something which is, we have decided with Iris Knobloch, the president of the festival and the team of the Cannes Film Festival, and I'm sure you all agree with that. Didier, we have decided to give to John Travolta a Palme d'Or d'honneur. No, please. John Travolta, Palme d'Or d'honneur du 79e Film Festival de Cannes.
Je suis pris complètement. I can't believe this. This is the last thing I expected. And you said this would be a special night, but I didn't know it would mean this.
We knew.
Oh my God, this is a humbling moment. Humbling moment. So thank you, Terry, from the bottom of my heart. You know, when I met with you in November, I had no expectation that my film would be accepted. And when Terry said it was not only making history because it would be the first film ever accepted that early, I cried like a baby because I just couldn't believe it, because in my opinion, you are the most discerning person in the movie industry.
Yes. Please.
And it's just, I was just happy to be here. I never expected this. Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you.
It's the recognition of everyone here,
all of you,
in this room. Look at them.
You know, my favorite movies in the history of my life have always been the winners of the Palme d'Or. And so from Black Orpheus on to A Man and a Woman, and you'll see them all demonstrated in this movie one way or another, but it's ironic that this symbol resembles and reflects my taste in film. And I just can't believe it. This is beyond the Oscar, really. So, thank you so much.
Good morning. We're here for the press conference on The Beloved by Rodrigo Sorogoyen. Please welcome Marina Foïs, Victoria Luengo, Javier Bardem, the main character in the film, Isabel Peña, who is the scriptwriter, and the director, Rodrigo Sorogoyen. Please warmly welcome the producer, Eduardo Villanueva, Guillermo Paré, Nacho Lavilla, and Raúl Ravello, the actor, who are sitting in the front row. I'll start with a short question for Isabelle. What's this story about and this relationship between father and daughter? Well, the story was born in several places at the same time, as is often the case. On the one hand, Rodrigo and I wanted to tell a different story in a different manner from what we were wont to do. We didn't want there to be deaths or anything else. We wanted really this time round to deal with a host of people. The structure is quite invisible. We felt we should be much freer in the story. And what was really important was the relations between the people and not so much the plot. And basically, we have Victoria, Rodrigo, and I, and a memorable trio in this film, and it was like working with long-standing friends. We talked a lot together. We talked about our parents and our relationships with our parents, and while everyone obviously comes from a very different household, we had a lot in common, a lot we could talk about, and I believe above all, that we were fascinated to hear what the others were talking about. This, in a sense, brought us together, and we said, oh, we'll do this. And you have the result before your eyes. It took about 4 years, and we went then to talk about matters with Rodrigo and others, and we said we really wanted to work with him, and that we wanted to talk about the relationship between father and daughter, Victoria and Javier, and we started to work together, and you have the end result. Magnificent. I think we have a first question. Hello, Maria Guerra, Spain. I'll put my question in Spanish because it's a Spanish film. Congratulations to the whole of the crew. It's a film which is monumental, but I would like to talk about the elephant in the room and ask Javier about yesterday. Yesterday, look, you're sitting in front of this poster to the Spanish press. You said you didn't know whether there were blacklists in Hollywood. Quite the contrary. Of course, you're perhaps one of the actors with the largest number of offers. In the course of this denunciation of what occurred, did you feel afraid that you might lose all your work? And have you noticed that the fear has changed sides in a sense? What is happening in American industry? Well, let's see. How can I put this? The fear does exist, granted, but one has to do things even if you feel a bit scared or afraid. You have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the eyes, and that was my case. My mother taught me to be the way I am. There is no B plan, no alternative, and this entails consequences, which I'm fully ready to shoulder. These consequences, well, I've heard about this, but as I said yesterday, I can't corroborate things or provide facts or proofs. You have these denunciations. You perhaps have those who deserve punishment, those who speak out freely when it comes to denunciations, genocide, for example. Well, contrary to what one might think, it's true that I had a whole host of offers in the US, in Europe, in South America, and in Spain. And that made me think that in narratives, things are changing. And everyone is beginning to realize, thanks to the younger generation, which is more aware of situations we're experiencing quite directly on our phones and on other screens. This is unacceptable. It cannot be justified. And there can be no reason, no explanation for this genocide. Therefore, I think that what is happening is quite the contrary. I believe that those who are drawing up these so-called blacklists will actually be exposed, and they are the ones who will be suffering consequences in terms of the public and on a social level. And this is a major change.
Hello. Judita da Silva, Arise News, Nigeria. It's one question from the perspective of Victoria and Javier. Victoria, you play a character whose emotional resolution is dependent on the actions of her father. Javier, you play a character whose emotional resolution is dependent on accountability to his daughter. But Victoria, you never play her so defeated that we give up on her. And Javier, you never play him so dogmatic that we give up on him. So how did you find and establish an emotional counterbalance so that us as the audience can see your performances as independent of each other, but contingent on one another so that we get to a point of resolution that is effective and impactful by the end of the film?
Well, I would say thank you very much. That was a beautiful
Thank you for your words. Yeah.
It was very beautiful. Should I answer this one in English? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess everything is always based on the writing, on the text, on the story, on the circumstances, the scenes, and in that case, these both. Rodrigo and Isabel, which I'm very happy that they come visit me at Martinez Hotel 4 years ago. That's why his name is Esteban Martinez. It's true. And because it was there, it was written. Now, the rest comes with the actor that you're working with. In this case, Victoria is such an outstanding actress, so brave, courage, and really risky at every level. She goes with no fear to wherever it has to go. And she's the most amazing partner. So it was easy for us to find the balance among those two things that you're saying about what has to be said and what has to be hid. And on top of that, we have a great editor, which is Rodrigo and his, Alberto, the editor. They both put it together nicely because this is movie making. And if it's not well edited, it doesn't matter what you do on set. And one of the things that I really appreciate is the skill of a director putting together a performance, and they both did amazingly well. So thank you, Rodrigo, for that, and Albert. Sí.
A mí no me funciona esto.
¿No te funciona?
No, I don't think so.
Toma. Mira, a ver.
No, I don't. Now I don't need it. Thank you. No, thank you for your words. I want to say that Javier and I, we didn't see each other during the preparation of the film because Rodrigo wanted us to be separate to create the real distance and the real uncomfortable situation. And the first time I saw him was during the first scene. So it was amazing. I worked a lot on my character, on inner feelings of Emilia, inner feelings, inner voices. And then Javier is such an amazing actor that the only thing I had to do was projecting onto him everything I had worked on before. But it was really wonderful working with him.
A question here for Isabel and Rodrigo. I'll be speaking Portuñol. I think that you make up a fantastic quartet. You're amazing with Alex, the photographer, Pablo, and all the others, and the editor. I'd like to understand how you work together, and above all, what was the share of each in this new film? Thank you very much. Thank you for your praise. Well, I don't know how we went about our work. I can try and sum it up in just a few sentences. Obviously, I had a special relationship with Isabel. We've been working together for quite some time. Likewise, Pablo and the others were friends, and we often worked and talked about the film together. We shared our work. And with all three of them, there's great complicity, great confidence, great trust. We've been working together for many years as a foursome, since 2012, probably. And that makes quite a lot of years. About 14 years we've been making films together. And we've made about 6 features and a number of series. Each has their own personality, but what I try to do is to adapt to the other human beings. When I'm working with them, we have these personal and professional relations at the time. I'm not going to say, you do this, you do that. I'm not going to tell you what the others are exactly like. But basically, with Isabel and all the others, we have a very fluid relationship. They're pillars. They support me. I learn a lot from them. We have a lot of fun together. We enjoy being together. And I feel very much at home. I feel it's a deep honor to be able to count on their support. And it's wonderful. Each time we work better together, things mellow and improve, because I think basically we have made huge qualitative progress with each film. And it's very important for us to note that things are improving each time. We take a lot of risks. We run dangers, photographically speaking. And I don't know what Isabel would say, but we worked on asbestos. We're very free in this film in terms of the subjects that we portray and the mechanisms used to make the film, particularly when it's a thriller, and with Alberto as well and the others. And with Javier, we have worked in a spectacular way together with the various scenes, and during the shooting, I would like to say that it was very smooth. And photographically speaking, and when it comes to the editing, everything worked extremely well. We spent days and days basically working on things to ensure that the few minutes you finally see on the film keep up the same pace, are up to the same standard. This was absolutely necessary. We wanted things to be very subtle at the same time. So it entailed a huge amount of work. I would like to say that it was a big challenge, in fact, making this film. In each of the phases, from the writing to the editing, there was a tremendous degree of freedom which we took. We often felt a bit unsure of things, and uncertainty is, in fact, difficult to dispel. You often have doubts. For me, it was a very interesting way to go about the work. I felt I was getting a lot of support, that he was holding my hand during the very difficult moments, but the end result is there. Hello, Raul Guinea, Mexico. I have a question for Javier and for Victoria. I very much like the way in which the film depicts this plot. Is different from series, in fact. My question is as follows. As actors, during your career, do you find that the cinema helps you in a way to be? Is this something that you feel in your innermost selves? Well, I'm acting like the sick person here. No, quite frankly, on the spur of the moment, I would like to say that films help me to understand a lot of things I need to work on and show. So I find that I am less fearful sharing things, and that is what the cinema enables me to do. I can achieve things in a very constructive manner and really think of other people more than for myself. So that's one of the main points I would like to answer. In my case, the truth of the matter is that I feel I'm very fortunate to be able to say through my characters certain things I couldn't or didn't want to say in my own personal life. And this is a wonderful gift. It's a form of sublimation. It adds great value to life. Of course, it doesn't occur to me in the same way that this is a true gift. I don't feel that this is a mirror in which I'm reflected. Each film is a unique experience. It's a unique moment in time. And sometimes when I see the film, things come back to mind, different things from when the shooting was taking place. So I believe that it's a great form of salvation, in fact, for all concerned. And is that your view, Marina, as well? Well, yesterday, when I watched the film, there was a sentence which really struck me. The cinema cannot repair everything. And I believe that's true. At the same time, the film gives you the opposite experience. As an experience, you can repair perhaps a week, a month, or a couple of years. I think, like Victoria, that the cinema that I see enables me to grow as a person. It really gives me great joy. Is the first time you've worked with Rodrigo? Has his method of work changed together with his films? His cinema adapts to the subject. That's one of his great strengths. The idea never exists just as an idea. The idea is to tell the story and to talk about people. That's one of his outstanding qualities. His method of work with the actors is very special. I think his love of the actors lies at the heart of his will to make films. He knows how to speak to his actors. He asks real questions and he really listens to the answers. We have the feeling that it's true collaboration. As Victoria has said, we feel very safe with him because he knows how to watch you, and that enables you to be quite bold and daring. Hello. Thank you very much. I have a question for Javier Bardem. Could you give us your opinion about democracy? It's a bit of a wild shot at this moment in time, because so many things are happening in terms of the blacklist and so on and so forth, and the social networks work like a police force. People come under huge pressure. So where is democracy? That's what we fully believe in. We grew up in democracy, and I'd like to share you to share your views on that topic. Thank you very much. Well, what can I really say? I don't know. I'm not sure I fully understood the question, but well, I believe that there is an increasing monopoly in the world of information. That's one of the problems that we note. Given Paramount and Warner Brothers in their merger, for example, in terms of information, who's actually going to control all this, what we're listening, what we're seeing? So I think that is very clear and is growing in importance with technology and the social networks, rapid, summed-up messages which are very populist, and they indeed have a huge impact on the young generation, and that concerns me no end, because I think that we have to ensure that the younger generation continues to think, apply reason. They need to understand, to compare, to check information. And if they don't, it's very dangerous indeed, because that could lead to major radicalization. In Spain, we're suffering from this very phenomenon, and the other European countries too, in addition to the United States. At present, there is no democracy in the media. That's my firm belief. I think this is a very dangerous situation. So, basically, what solution can there be? I don't know, personally. That's just my viewpoint. I think we need to denounce this situation, talk about it, and I certainly don't support the movement underway. That's about all I can say at this juncture.
Question here, Hossein Fahmy from Chrome Egypt. to Rodrigo and Javier. In a very specific scene in the film, the table scene, we are watching a director is repeating takes until he is getting what he wants, and escalating from comedy until horror. How was the making of this several takes, and how did you manage to make this wide range of emotions from comedy to horror? And to Javier, I just want to thank you not only for being a great actor, but also for speaking up against the genocide of the Palestinian people. Thank you.
Para mí, ¿no? Es que estaba escuchando. Bueno, es una, como hemos dicho antes, es una
Well, as I
escena
was
muy
saying earlier
trabajada,
on, we
la
worked
más
hard on that
complicada,
scene. It was one of the
más
most
complicada que
complicated
hemos hecho en
to
toda
do
nuestra filmografía, y lo
in
repito
the
por
history
el
of all our
guion,
films and
y
in
aparte de
terms
todo lo
of
demás,
the
el guion,
script.
recuerdo que
I'd like
es una
to
escena que nació
recall
muy
that
pronto,
this
por
is
lo que fue
a
el germen
scene
de la idea en el
that
rodaje de
was
Fresca,
actually the
Isabel
seeds behind
apagar un par
the
de
flowering
cosas,
of
¿no?
this
Era muy
film.
intenso, ¿no?
It was, in fact, the source of a bit of a crisis. It was very difficult to work on this scene. We had the film in mind when we were working on this script, and one of the actresses, you may remember, had to eat and had to eat lentils and I don't know what, and the poor actress had to keep eating and repeating the scene, and it was a source of huge anxiety, this film. We were shooting and we had to repeat the scene time and again, and we had to ensure that the work was being properly done. The director was saying, okay, this is good or this is not good, you have to eat, really show that you're eating, and there was something very interesting in the exchanges in this scene. Bit by bit, the scene reached a climax, and it's one of the climaxes in the film. And a certain amount was written down. We knew that the scene was extremely important in the film. It took a long time to shoot. It took several days for us and for me. This is the scene that took the most time in the overall shooting of the film. And I don't know how it was experienced by all those present here. I think it was on the Monday. People turned up full of energy, and then we had to repeat things again, time and again. And basically, we tried out all the formats that were possible. We tried different media, we tried different approaches, different angles, celluloid, digital, this and that, 4 cameras or fewer or more. It was quite a choreography to orchestrate, and the actors, of course, had to appear right in the film from a technical stance. Well, it took 5 days, and we were working with children, and there were different languages involved in the scene. There was the sun, the clouds, and then we had to stop shooting. So I recall that it was a very tense, a very difficult scene to make. But in the end, we managed with the scene, and we were able to relax. The rest was much easier. I'm not saying that it was better, but we felt, oh yes, we've managed this scene, we've achieved this, and we could relax and enjoy things a bit more. And then, of course, there was the editing. All these shots, all these possibilities, we then had to combine and edit.
Hi, Cristiana Lievi, Corriere della Sera. Good morning. I have a question for Mr. Bardem. First of all, congratulations. For me, you are already the winner for the male performance in this Cannes Film Festival. We will see. Finish. No. So this movie, to me, among the other things, it's also an invitation to remember to watch things from different perspectives. So before you were mentioning your mother teaching you how to stand, I would like to know also who taught you, if you are good in that, in facing things in life also, not only in cinema, from different perspectives and distances. As you can see your daughter better from close and also from far away. Thank you.
Okay. I'm learning. I'm learning every day to try to be more empathetic with my fellow human beings. Beings. Not beings, beings. I always say human beings. I like that word, human beings. Anyway, sorry. I think as you get old, and I'm getting older and older, you understand that there is no one truth. There are many truths, as we all know, but there are certain things that are very, very, objectively speaking, very facts. For example, that Gaza, for example, coming again into that, has been committed and is still being committed. Genocide is a fact. You can fight against it, you can try to justify it, explain it. That is a fact. If you can be against it or you can justify it. If you justify it with your silence or with your support, you are pro-genocide. Those are facts for me. Now, you can face that in different terms of statements. My statement is this one, is the power that you all gave me. I don't have any other power or more power than you guys, but this. And I use it in the best way I know, because I believe that when you encourage others to talk and to get their own thoughts about certain things, there is mobilization, and mobilization changes situations, I think, still today. And that's the way I face the reality, by knowing that I can help very humbly to try to make some awareness about something that I feel unfair. For example, the Western Sahara, which is the theme of the movie that my director is shooting, where France has a lot to say in a bad way about the horrible circumstance where the Sahrawi people are, along with Morocco. So, yeah, those things have to be denounced, because those things are a problem of human rights and international law disclosure. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Buenas tardes, buenos días.
Hello.
Conchita Casanova,
Conchita Casanova, National Radio of Spain. Rodrigo Sorogoyen. Now that the film has been screened, what feelings, what emotions did you experience during the screening and overall in the Cannes Film Festival? What's your overall vision of things? And for Javier Bardem, I have a very direct question. Javier, do you think you won the Best Actor for Beautiful in 2010? I'm sure you remember that moment. Now you're back in Cannes. You've crossed the Atlantic. Do you think there will be a sort of a hegemony of the European cinema this year, thanks to Cannes? Do you think that will be a noteworthy fact that emerges from the festival? Well, I don't know. What did I feel? An awful lot of emotions and sensations. I went up to the rostrum and I wanted to talk about the message in the film. In any case, I feel extremely grateful. We're honored, deeply moved. Yesterday was an amazing experience, an unforgettable one. It's a time when we all went up the red carpet, we had the music, and things are beautifully orchestrated here, so we were full of emotion. You feel very grateful. In fact, the film is just a film after all, and there are lots and lots of films that were offered, and we were chosen for this place, for this festival. So truly, we feel very lucky, very fortunate to have this experience. Obviously, the film is in the major selection, and we hope it will be seen by the largest possible number of people. So we feel very fortunate and grateful. Yes, I would like to highlight the gratefulness we feel, and particularly me, because obviously I love this place, I love the festival, I love Cannes, because it has honored the Spanish cinema this year with 3 films. The films are here, of course, is because they deserve it, but of course, it is an amazing feat to have 3 Spanish films in this major international event. It says reams about our industry, and we feel extremely proud. I believe that, of course, it's logical given the technical quality that you have in Spain in the cinema, and in terms of the narratives, the plots. So it's a wonderful thing to be part of all this independently of our experience in the film. It's a special year when we're present. There are so many men and women from Spain who are present here, and we feel that we are extremely favored. We're about 40, is that it? No, well, we're not rivals, in fact. But I think we can stand together, and it's wonderful to be here. For me, the most beautiful moment is to go up the red carpet and to greet Thierry, because everything boils down to that moment when the film is going to be screened in the Palais. It's so amazing. You have 2,500 people who share this moment, who share the work that you worked on so hard, and people can now enjoy it. This, in the end, is what you experience here. It's that moment which is the highlight. And now we're 3 Spanish films to experience this, which is a wonderful thing to behold.
Hola a todos. Sí. Hola.
Hello, Mundo Cine in Spain. I have a question for Victoria Luengo. What was it like building up your character and acting with Javier? It probably entailed a lot of work. And you talked about having a sort of a mirror. How did you build up your character? Because it wasn't easy to create this kind of relationship. So how did you understand your character and then go about its portrayal? Well, Rodrigo asked us not to meet together with Javier, so what we did was to write a sort of a biography of the character of Emilia with all the details, where she was born, up until the day before this film was begun. And there were a host of details. It was very important for me in this character. There are a lot of things that are never stated and that happen subsequently in the film. A lot of things that you sort of perceive in the film but are never stated, or that she's unable to state. So I had this sort of biography. Rodrigo compared some data with a biography he gave to Javier and mine, and then we finally met. He wanted things to be a total improvisation, but we did have information that I had about him and he had about me, and we swapped this information, and the idea was to reflect what really happens in life. You have different memories of the same events that occur. So that's how we worked. We swapped these bits of information. We spent quite a lot of time with Rodrigo talking about things. It was like talking to a therapist, but basically the idea was to emotionally think about these memories, which would then become part and parcel of our very body. It's hard to control my character. She's so full of anger, so hatred, while there's admiration at the same time. It was quite clear that I didn't want to have a character who simply hated her father. She was abandoned by her father, and that was something that made up many different aspects of her character. She was very disappointed by her father, angry, but in love with him at the same time, and she idealized him. So truly, with all these contradictory traits, what I did was then to work with Javier, to listen to what he said, to be present, receptive in terms of what he offered. And Javier and I worked beautifully together. It was a very positive experience. Everything appeared easy. It fell into place. It didn't seem at all complicated. As I speak, I have the impression that I really didn't have anything to do. And as to the mirror, well, in the script, there were scenes which weren't comical, but there were times of intimacy when she was in her room, and there were various moments I experienced in the film which reminded me of things in life. I felt a great degree of liberty. The present was very present, spontaneity. And in terms of the mirror, he gave us very precise instructions. He changed the whole sequence. When we were rehearsing, a certain number of things changed. I was rehearsing, talking to the mirror. I hadn't thought of certain reactions, and everything just came out that way. That's what's so marvelous when you work with an actor like Javier and a director like Rodrigo. I like what you said about Rodrigo. Rodrigo is a very good director. It's true. He doesn't talk very much. Quite frankly, this work, while watching the film on such a big screen, it's hard to hide away, so to speak. This he achieved this final result with all the actors thanks to the script he wrote, the way he directed us. There was such extraordinary freedom that was given us, but at the same time we had very specific notes which pertained even to the smallest details, but things were very deep. And that's what he wanted to point out. He noted things that make you reflect, make you think, that bring you to the truth, which is what he wanted to portray. And then you have the position of the camera, which is positioned in such a way as to show all this, and the DOP was absolutely exceptional. Quite frankly, had Martinez not been DOP, I would have never felt so relaxed, because we were never stressed. He was quite amazing. He was there was cooperation which prevailed, and true pleasure. I like what he does. I like what we went about doing together, and he shoots things just the way I would like, and I'm not being overly generous. We have time for one very last short question.
Hi, I'm Leila from The Independent. Congratulations on the film. This question is for the both of you, Javier and Rodrigo. Maybe it goes a bit beyond the film, but it's a film about quitting, even though you don't strike me as people who quit in real life. It's a film about quitting the ones we love and we're supposed to care for. And at the same time, we see this violence and this need for power. I can't help but put both together. Why do you feel there's this need for men? Because in the competition, there are other films that talk about fatherhood, absent fathers, what it creates, the impact it has on their families, not just the person they quit, but the entire environment around. And I can't help but feel this also participates in the rise of violence in society. Maybe fathers were more present and caring. Why do you think that is? They choose to leave the people they're supposed to love and seek success and power instead.
Well, I think it comes from the origins of what this so-called toxic masculinity comes from, which is the education, the bad education that we have received for many ages, which I'm part of. I'm 57 years old, coming from a very machista country called Spain, where there is an average of 2 women killed monthly by their ex-husbands or ex-boyfriends, which is horrible. Just that amount of women being murdered, it's unbelievable. And we kind of normalized it. It's like, well, yeah, it's horrible. I mean, are we fucking nuts? We are killing women because some men think they own them, they possess them. So, and that problem also goes to Mr. Trump, and Mr. Putin, and Mr. Netanyahu. The big balls man saying, my cock is bigger than yours, and I'm gonna bomb the shit out of you. It's a fucking male toxic behavior that is creating thousands of dead people. So, yeah, we have to talk about it. and I think if we are talking about it, it's because we are more aware of it, thankfully. Because maybe 20 years ago, there was something that nobody will pay attention as a problem. And I think this movie speaks about that, and it's good that in this movie there are 3 people that say no to Esteban. The 3 of them are 3 women.
I don't know much more I can add.
Bon, bah écoutez, non, Rodrigo? Eh ben écoutez, merci.
Well then, thank you very much.
Alors, bonjour.
Good morning. We're here for the press conference